And welcome to the Nuggz Live podcast. I am your host, Dan Wetstein, and as always, I got my co-host, Santiago Salazar, here with me to talk about your Denver Nuggets. We're going to be, I know it's been a week since we've been with y'all. I apologize for that. That is my bad. I am the boss, so I am taking full responsibility. I'm the one that had to push on because we got new puppies. I know y'all seen it. We got new newest additions to the Tape 42 family. We got puppies. Plus, I had some other family and personal issues that I had to deal with. So I apologize that it's on me. But we are back here. We're going to go over the games that have been played since the All-Star break and preview the week ahead. So let's go ahead and jump in since we got so much to get to here. Nuggets exit the break, All-Star break that is, with a comeback win versus the Cavs. Did Cleveland really pose a dangerous matchup, or could they in a 7-game series in the playoffs?
I think they could, but you're not playing Cleveland unless you make the finals, and we all know that's the Nuggets' goal of this year's championship. I wouldn't say bust because we can run it back another year, but I don't think we want to settle for anything less, especially with Nikola playing the way he is, going for the three-peat. The Cavs, they have a lot to go through in their own conference before we're talking about 7 games. You have the Bucks, Sixers, and the Celtics. They have to run, through those 3 teams who I think are much better, and even the Knicks are balling right now. To put the Nuggets, though, versus Cavaliers, just to make it as a hypothetical, because I don't want to be a curmudgeon, I'll answer your question. I think the Nuggets can beat them at least in a 5-6 game series. Yeah, the Cavs have a phenomenal backcourt in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, who can score the ball like, nobody's business. But it's going to come down to the big man game, and there's not going to be one guy who can stop Nikola Jokic. Well, Jarrett Allen, who was an all-star previously, but, he has no offensive game to really be as, dominant and match Joker's game. Nikola, yeah, he might get rattled a little bit from Jarrett Allen's defense and Evan Mobley, but Nikola has so many tricks in the bag. He doesn't need to just go back to one move. He'll dominate those guys like no other. I'm not worried about the Cavs.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. The only way that the Nuggets are going to face the Cavaliers at all in the playoffs is in the finals. And so I'm glad you covered some of those things and then went back to the question, got me my answer that I was looking for. I do agree. I think this game is a perfect synopsis of how a 7-game series would go in the playoffs with the Nuggets, is that you had the first quarter where the Nuggets ended up leaving off with a 5-point lead. Then at the half, they were down by 1 point. At the end of 3 quarters, they were down by 2 points. And then that fourth quarter kicked in, that defense locked down. They gave up just 18 points to one of the best scoring teams in the league. Threw out 26 of their own to go ahead and flip the script, go from just kind of fighting to stay in it, and then just ended up taking over the game in the last couple of minutes. And I think it's really kind of how that series would go to. I'm not saying that the Nuggets would go in there and just lambast the Cavaliers, because I do think the Cavs are a good team. They'd probably get a win or 2 within the series. I wouldn't see them being able to sweep the Cavs, but at the end of the day, there's just too much on this Nuggets team, and that shows you the difference between a true title contender in the Nuggets and a playoff contender in the Cavaliers. That's the differentiation between the two. This was a great game for anybody that doesn't really understand the terminology. That they don't understand that there is a differentiation between a team that's just capable of getting to the playoffs and maybe making some noise, as opposed to a team that is capable of winning it all. And this was a great game to showcase that and show the differentiations between a good and a great team. And there's a stark difference, and you should have seen it in this game. So with all of that being said, I agree with you. I don't see the Cavaliers coming out of the East. It would take a Herculean effort, the epitome of lightning in a bottle, and just for them to go into the finals and essentially hand the Nuggets a win if that was the case that came down. Because, I mean, really outside of Milwaukee and Boston, there's really nobody in the East that scares me when they're matched up toe-to-toe with the Nuggets. So if it's anybody other than those 2 teams, I'm all in, and I'm putting my money on the Nuggets. But let's go ahead and bring it back to current events. Vlatko went and got 10-3-1 as a starter. Is he the most versatile bench player for the Nuggz, if I can talk?
I'm going to have to go Bruce Brown on that one. Vlatko, I do love what he brings to the table, though. He's a Nikola Jokic type of guy, the European-built type of guy. He doesn't look like he's a professional athlete, lacks a little athleticism, but he can show you different. He's scrappy. He's crazy with his hands. And he's going to give you everything he got every night. And that's why Malone likes him so much. It's not going to show up heavy in the stat sheet, but when you watch him on the floor, you're going to see why this guy's on the NBA roster. And when his number's called, he's ready to answer. And it's something that what the Nuggets going to get out of Bones Highland. This is why they like guys like Chanchar, someone who's willing to, sit on the bench. And when their number is called, as I was saying, they're ready to go. They don't need to play every night. And if they don't play, then their understanding of it, they're a team first player, not a me kind of guy. And that's what this team is built off of. I'm going to go Bruce Brown as most versatile coming off the bench. Excuse me, I had a burp. I've been drinking soda, man.
You're good. It happens, brother.
And only reason why I say that, though, Bruce Brown, is because seeing when Jamal was out and they had Bruce Brown playing at the point, he showed a game that not a lot of us knew that he had, and he was facilitating when Nikola wasn't. He can knock down the three. He's a true 3-and-D player, but, you put the ball in his hands to run the offense. He's obviously shown he can do that. So Vlaco is one of the most versatile, but I don't think that he is the most.
I can definitely understand where you're coming from, and I do love downtown Bruce Brown. He is one of my favorite players to watch on this team, but this is going to be one of those rare opportunities where I get to disagree with you. I have to say that he is, because he has something that it's not Bruce Brown's fault. It's just the gene pool he happened to come out of. He's not 6'10". Like, Vlatko can do just about everything that Brown can do, and he can play really all 5 positions. Like, maybe at the point it's a little bit of a stretch. He's not that much of a facilitator or a playmaker, but I think in a pinch, if you absolutely had to, I think he could pull off being at the point, especially as a backup point guard. So that's why I say it's just his size. And another thing I have to push back on is people look at it, the European without athleticism. I can't agree with that. The man dunked from the free throw line. Like, he pulled a straight Dr. J in a game. It wasn't like it was a dunk cut. He did it in a game. So
I don't think it's the narrative that they don't do it. They don't have athleticism. I think it's the narrative that they look like they don't have athleticism. I mean, you look at Luka.
Yeah.
He don't look like the most athletic guy.
Yeah, no, not at all.
He
looks like the guy at the rec league. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he just got done ordering a triple cheeseburger from Carl's Jr., with the grease down his cheek,
Yes.
You don't expect this guy to be going and doing a 360 up and under a layup, So don't mistake me. I'm not saying these guys aren't athletic. They just don't look athletic at all. You wouldn't.
Okay, I got you. Now I'm with you. Okay, yes.
You wouldn't expect these guys to do half the things they do on the court.
Yeah, it's the white boy bias. The white men can jump. So, there are some of us out there that can dunk, and Vlatko is one of them. I get it. The underrated athleticism because of what he looks like. Yes.
Yeah.
Just like an Alex Caruso, guys like that. The white guys.
And now Caruso is not European, and I think you might got something going on there. It might just not be the European thing. It might just be the white man can't jump.
It might be. I mean, he's Slovenian. So people don't even know where that is.
You need a globe for that.
Yes.
Try to find that.
A blown up globe, because it's one of those itty bitty tiny countries in the Eastern Bloc. So if you don't know where you're looking for, you don't know. But the Slovenian sniper is legit. I love what he is able to do. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he needs to be no, he's not. It's not. We're not going to have the same argument we've had with Bruce Brown and KCP and who should be. No, Vlatko is a bench player, but he is a top tier bench player. And I think that actually, I don't even want to go out on a stretch. I believe he will be the X factor in the playoffs this year. I think he takes another step. And I think he shows out in the playoffs and becomes that guy off the bench that just does a little bit of everything, that just keeps everything moving whenever Jokic, Murray, and them are taking a breather. So
I can
on to the next one.
Being an X factor for sure. Definitely being an X factor.
Well, I'm glad we can come back and find an agreement. Let's go ahead and move on to another guy I know we agree on, and I know that we both love, is Reggie Jackson, local kid, coming home, doing good, debuted in this game, dropped 7 points, 4 rebounds in 18 minutes. What stood out to you in his first game?
Do we have the Clippers game coming up next? Just I just want
The first Grizzlies game's
to
next.
Grizzlies next. We're talking about the Clippers, right? I just want to know.
Yeah, that's after. That's
Okay.
after.
Okay, because
that's
I didn't want
the
to
three.
I didn't want to bring up the crowd reaction of Reggie Jackson's first game yet. Being back in the Mile High. So
Right.
since we're not doing that game yet, the Cavs, it was just not a welcome home game. I wouldn't call it. It's definitely welcome to the team type of game. But this
Right.
fan base loves them, man. This fan base loves them, and I say that because I was at that Clippers game, and I'll be excited to talk about it here in a couple another
That's gonna be
segments.
great. Yes.
But what Reggie Jackson has done in his career, he's always been the type of guy who been third, fourth best player on the team. Now he's on the team where he doesn't even have to be up there. And when you bring a guy like that who answers when his number's called, we got a lot of guys on the Nuggets roster that can answer, and no task is too big for him. That's what I love about this team, and that's what I love about the addition with Reggie Jackson. This is a guy who is capable of scoring 15 and 20 on a nightly basis, and you don't need him to do that. All he has to do is at least put 5 to 10, and that's just enough right there. And that might even, be enough just to get us over a victory, the difference maker of a 5-point win. Reggie Jackson is an athletic, energetic type of guy. Now he might be on, past a little bit of his prime, but the Clippers loved him so much. Organization and fans loved him so much because of his clutch performances in the playoffs. Just wait until playoff time when Reggie Jackson is out there. And what is the other Reggie Jackson in baseball? Mr. October? Reggie Jackson could be Mr. June, Mr. May, Mr. April, and hopefully he can show Nuggets fans why we'll be calling him that soon.
Yeah, even though he played with Paul George, he was the true playoff P. Like he was the guy that got it done in the playoffs. Most definitely, that's where he is always shine. It's always seemed to hit for him when the lights are the brightest or when he shines the most. It's something about him that Mr. Big Shot. It reminds me a little bit of a Chauncey Billups. Like I'm not saying he's anywhere near Mr. Big Shot. I'm just saying when it comes to crunch time, he has that clutch gene. And so I can't wait to see what he does with the expanded minutes he's going to get over these next coming weeks. Last couple of games, I think we got 15 games, 16 games left, something about that, before the playoffs start. So what he does in these last few games, getting acclimated. I know, isn't it crazy? It's almost over.
Yeah, the season went by so quick, man. And
so fast, brother.
Just got to enjoy it because, the regular season versus playoff basketball, it's just an entirely different sport. It honestly is. And, and that's why, I know the Nuggz are the front runners right now, first in the West. And I hear all these naysayers saying that, you got to watch out for Golden State, Phoenix,
SpongeBob
Clippers. All that dumb stuff. But you know what? I can give credit to teams like Golden State, because when it does hit playoff time, that team just turns into a little bit of something else with the experience. Yeah, they're a little older, but just when you've been there before and you've consistently been there year after year, it is a different. I think that's what it's going to come down to, is the experience. If the Nuggets show a blunder or something, I'm not saying that they're inexperienced, but the fact that they haven't made too many deep playoff runs and the chances that they've made, they've been lacking health. And so it might be a situation, if the Nuggets don't make it, I don't want to be the bad guy here, but if they don't make it, it might be because the moment was just too big, maybe, which I'm hoping to God that I am wrong all around.
Yeah, I have more faith in this because the last time the Nuggets went into the playoffs fully healthy was the bubble. And we all know
that was Mickey Mouse. That was Mickey Mouse. Yeah, that was Mickey Mouse. They should have.
The one time they went in full, and I don't think they were fully. MPJ wasn't there for that, was he?
I think he was. Who
was
were we
he
lacking
in the rotation? We were lacking somebody.
I think was it Gary Harris? Might have been Gary, because we had Gary on the roster.
So. Yeah, it was either Gary or Craig.
And I only say no Mickey Mouse though, because the Nuggets, I feel they should have been the representative in the NBA finals. They went all the way to the conference finals with the Lakers, and the Lakers really, what are they so proud of? They barely outbeat a team that it was still young. The Nuggets were, I want to call it the infancy of what is
pretty
now.
Much. We're far from it. Yeah.
Yeah. This was pre-Nikola, pre-MVP Nikola. This wasn't
Yeah.
MVP Nikola. This was a guy who
This
still.
was when Jokic got skinny and became an MVP.
Yeah.
Like that's what the time period we're talking about. So yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I think that the Nuggets would have made it to the finals. They would have been the finals champions that year. I don't see how it would have went any other way. But let's go ahead and move on to the next here. Nuggets versus Grizzlies. The first game after the break, second to last game of the season. The Grizzlies came out and just shellacked the Nuggets. It was a really tough watch for any Nuggets fan. And Ja, right before the game had the claim he's the best in the game. Was he even close to being right? Did this show anything to you that he was the best in the game? Or what did you see?
The Memphis Grizzlies, just as a whole, are a phenomenal young team, and Ja Morant so happens to be the best player on that team, or gets at least the highest spotlight. He plays the point guard position. The ball, he's going to have a high usage rate. And he does something with that rock. I can't blame him for that. But with all the antics and shenanigans he's found himself in and the way he acts and portrays himself, I know we probably will talk a little bit more about it as the show goes on.
We'll get to more of that later. Yep.
But it's just, this is the difference between people who are superstars and people who are just stars and find themselves lost in translation. Ja Morant can honestly have everything. He can be the face of the league. He can be in the position that Jason Tatum is right now, Luka Doncic is. But it's the way he carries himself, and the NBA is not going to want to keep promoting Ja Morant if he keeps going down this path. With that being said, Ja Morant was one of the leaders to be an MVP going into this year. He was in top 5. I don't even think he's in the discussion anymore. But as a unit, the Memphis Grizzlies are, I won't say for real, but they're a pretty good, damn unselfish team. Swinging the ball around, they shown it. They can run you out the building if you give them the chance. I think where the Nuggets messed up in this one is they just lost. The Grizzlies were playing their game, and the Nuggets fell into that kind of trap, which they do have two similar games. But when the Nuggets can't lock into their game first, where it is running up and down the court, knocking down 3 after 3, and you're just missing early on shots, it's not going to be a good night, and it's not a recipe for success. The Nuggets were trying to shoot themselves back in that game when it seemed like that game was already far gone.
Yeah, I agree. This is one game where I'm going to have one of my few moments where I'm going to question Coach Malone. As much as I just got done praising Vlatko Čančar, this was a game that showed his weaknesses. When he has a guy that can match him athletically and with size, is where he runs into trouble. He barely put out a 2-2-2 line. Like it was like a 2-2-2 breakfast at IHOP. He had 2 points, two rebounds. Triple single. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then you have Dunkle Jeff was going off on the bench for 12 points in 24 minutes. Like, my thing was, why did you not switch those two guys out sooner?
Who I'm really disappointed about. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say, like, with Dunkle Jeff, with the way that he's been playing lately, like, yes, he's had his struggles that have been well documented where he went, I think it was like 0 for 22 or something like that at one point, but he's really turned it around lately, and he's really interjected some energy in this team, especially coming in on the second unit and then them getting out of whack and starting to lose leads. So the fact that he just sat there and kind of just let Uncle Jeff sit there on the bench, and also Christian Brown. I mean, he was sitting out there with 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. So like the fact that Malone just kind of sat there and rode the guy. I mean, I get trying to give the guy some what's the word I'm looking for? Some confidence. There we go. Some confidence, but to go out there and know that you're going to lean on him. But when you're playing a team that is literally right behind you, and at this point made it really, really hairy for you until they went and played them again a couple nights ago. I just really didn't like how Malone kind of handled the bench in this game. I know it's not, a common thing for us, and I don't want to make, a mountain out of a molehill, but to me, that was what really stuck out in this. It wasn't so much the desperation of talent between the two or the ages between the two. It was the actual coaching. For one of the very few times since Malone has become the coach, I questioned the coaching in a game. Did you see that, or was I seeing things?
Well, he has a man crush with Vlatko. He really does, man. And I think it it might be because of his Serbian what is Serbian, Slovenians, Bosnians.
He's
They were all like they all used to be
Yeah, they all used to be
together, man.
Yugoslavia.
Yeah, it all
Yeah,
used to be
that the whole
Yugoslavia. Yeah,
Yugoslavian war that happened under Clinton. Yeah, Clinton. With
and it
that went
just
through. Yeah,
so that
separated them.
they still have uh, a connection, and I feel that Malone still sees that connection in him. And Flacco has a wonderful basketball IQ. Just this wasn't a game where IQ was going to outmatch. The Nuggets IQ was not going to get them back into the game, is what I should
Right.
say. And the Memphis Grizzlies, I was praising them as a whole, as much as we can't stand the antics of Dylan Brooks and John Morant and the young fake wannabe tough guy persona. This is a team that's really good at sharing the ball. Just at the same time, when it comes to the playoffs, their basketball IQ and their youth is going to shoot themselves in the foot. I see a lot of self-infliction is what is going to cause the Memphis Grizzlies to expose themselves and not go as far as what they actually want to go. With that being said, though, you see all the names you just said. The one name that I'm missing, and I saw this guy ball out. You remember Jared Vanderbilt, right? Jared
Yes.
Vanderbilt, and his name popped up because we were joking about the triple single, and I heard Malone say that one time about him when he
Yeah.
put Jared Vanderbilt in his first career game, and Jared Vanderbilt was like, "Yeah, the first of many." Well, this guy was going nuts. He plays for the Lakers now. I don't remember what we traded Vanderbilt to the Timberwolves for, but
I don't
Vanderbilt.
either. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, and he was involved with that. Was it that Westbrook trade that he went to the Timberwolves and then he got bought out and then the Clippers picked him up? But it
Yeah.
sent Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley to the Lakers, and there was a game. I think it was last Sunday or last Saturday, one of the two. They were down 27 points against the Mavericks, and they ended up winning the LA Lakers. Now you would think that the Lakers would have lost that game easily, but the energy that Jared Vanderbilt brought to, I mean, just go watch that game and some of those highlights. There's about a 5-minute sequence where Jared Vanderbilt is just going nuts on the defensive end, on the offensive end. He ended the game with like 5 steals, like 17 rebounds, some of that, I'm spitballing those numbers, but I know it was more than 15 rebounds. He ended it, I think, damn near 20 points. Like, that's the type of energy and bench play I think the Nuggets could be using right now. And it kind of makes me mad that we did trade him. I had to look back into that trade of what we got. Maybe it was worth it. I don't know. But that's definitely the type of guy we need on this team. And I think that's what Malone sees in Vlatko. Yeah, Vlatko can do
I got you.
about anything, but I don't know if he's going off like that, on that energetic type of whatever you want to call it, just
Yeah,
a cloud nine.
Yeah, he doesn't have the same personality. That's why
Yeah.
I named him the Slovenian sniper. It's not just because, it's cute and they both start with the S. It's because he has that sniper mentality, that cold-blooded killer instinct. Like, he doesn't really talk much. He doesn't really say much. He doesn't really show much emotion. He just kind of goes out, does his thing, drops threes from distance, dunks from the free throw line, hits half-court shots, and maybe gives you a little bit of a smile, maybe a high five, and then just walks off like ain't nothing happened. Like, it's just nothing new.
It's because there's a language barrier. That's why. It's because he doesn't want
It's not so much here in Denver. Like, he got some people, and he can talk in English. Like, he does interviews. So,
I feel the thing is he wants to talk trash, but he doesn't want to sound dumb. So maybe he has an accent. So he's like, yeah, I'll just be quiet. Just
I don't know, but it's just always kind of had that sniper mentality, just that cool, calm, collected guy that's just gonna sit back and just pop you off from a distance and not even blink when your head explodes. Like, that's just the kind of guy he is, and I think that's kind of why he's probably a little bit underrated. It's even here in Denver. Like, I don't think he gets as much recognition even in the local media as he should. There's some people that do, obviously. There's some guys like Mark Mosier and Hans and that over at 92.5 and Altitude Sports that do them, but definitely not nationally. Nobody nationally knows who the guy is. But I think that again will change once the playoffs come. Excuse me.
So, is he our Jordan Poole? Is Vlatko going to be our Jordan Poole? Can you just imagine that?
I mean, he has the ability, and he's so much like he could be in the fact that he does everything Poole does, but more, and he's so much bigger. Like the dude is ridiculously huge for how athletic he is. He's like a MPJ light. Like he's a poor man's MPJ and a lot lighter skinned.
He's like MPJ non-alcoholic. What do you mean? Like he's like
there you go.
He reminds me of, you remember Nahara? You remember Eddie Nahara?
Actually, no, I don't.
He was like the Mexican player, the player born in Mexico for the Nuggets.
Gotcha.
It was during those Thuggets years. I'm pretty sure you pop up a name.
I got you.
Of him, or pop up his picture.
I saw his face.
Yeah. But he reminds me of him. He was he didn't play every game, but when they put him in there, he was gonna do some damage. And I think Vaco is a 82 game type of player. Now, of course, no one plays 82 games anymore, but at the same time, you see what I mean. In baseball, they have an everyday starter or whatever they call it. That's what I think Vlatko should be. Not a starter, but someone who should be playing every chance he gets.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. And I do believe that this loss was a straight spur for the Nuggets as they have went on a 3-game winning streak. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely tough to watch, but I think that it was something necessary. It was one of those wake up calls. They had went on a 4-0 run before the All-Star break. They started out of the break with that big win against the Cavs. Then they went in, got mollywopped by Memphis in Memphis, and then turn around against the Clippers, come out and get another win. Did the Russ signing move the needle at all? Like, did you see anything from him in this game that makes you think that the Clippers actually got better and were more competitive with the Nuggets because of Russ? Or was it the opposite?
Man, that game was so energetic and so electrifying. It was just such a fun atmosphere to be a part of. And I got this hat from there, I think. Or no, I didn't get it from there. I think I bought it pregame. So you know what? We don't got no dusty caveman hats. We got a brand new one until this one turns into the new dusty and caveman hat. So we got
a natural progression of things. That's okay.
But man, it was so fun going to that game. Seeing Russ, though, the Nuggets, they went on a big run to start off that game. I think at one point it was 4-20 to start the game off, and the Clippers just looked like they were having a bad out-of-body experience where they didn't want to be there. Bones, I was watching him during pregame warm-ups. He looked nervous. He couldn't really knock down a lot of shots. I mean, he was knocking some down, but not at a rate as an NBA player should. It's kind of messed up. I kind of felt bad for the guy because everyone was booing him. And we all know after everything came out, you would boo someone like that. But when he left Denver, he did leave a heartfelt message, or if you could even call that heartfelt. He left a message on his Twitter about how he had a lot of appreciation for Denver, So I kind of felt bad for him because after everyone booed him, I saw that tweet afterwards, and I was like, damn, poor guy. Like, he probably thought he was going to come back and get some cheers, But everyone was just going at it, man. They were giving him a hard time. And wherever Russell Westbrook, for some reason, gave him a hard time. I don't really have any problem with Russell Westbrook. I have actually a little bit of respect, more than the usual basketball fan would. I just think that the fact that he shoots shots that he has no business shooting, it makes him an easy target. I mean, this guy, they had a meme where it's going to be, they said Russell Westbrook and Paul George are going to be practicing breaking the backboard and shoot around, just because, you remember Paul George from his a series with the Nuggets. You remember that? That if he shot Tupac, he'd still be alive. Man. So, I mean, I don't see a lot of the hate on him. The Nuggets, I think the reason why the Clippers came back in this game is because the Nuggets they let him. It was one of those kind of performances where there was a long period of time where shots weren't falling for the Nuggets, to where the Clippers eventually found themselves back in the game. And, the craziest thing I've ever seen, probably in person at a sporting event, is when Paul George hit that full court shot at the end of regulation. It didn't go good. It didn't go. It was no good, bro. But the fact that everyone
went in.
Everyone was like, oh, like, man, being a part of that crowd and just the whole loud moan. And I was laughing because I was like, thank God the time expired. I knew we were going to OT, and the Nuggets just ran up the scoreboard. They ran amok. It was a fun experience, man. I don't even know if I'm answering your question completely. I think I'm
No,
just.
you're good. You're giving us great stuff, man. No, you really are. Yeah. From what I'm getting from you, I mean, essentially, like, yeah, it's very long winded, but hey,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
excited. You got to talk. You're talking about an experience. I'm just sitting back and letting you go, my man. But no, like,
Yeah.
essentially, what I'm getting from you is what I assumed is that Russell Westbrook did not move the needle. He
Yeah.
does not put any fear in you. The
No.
Clippers are not a contender in the West. They are just like the Cavaliers. They are a playoff contender. They are not a championship contender. That is the difference here, guys. So, excuse me. I agree with you. Russell Wilson not moving the needle, no fear whatsoever.
You said Wilson.
But and you kind of answered the second question here. It was that how Bones was received. It really seemed like I could tell even on TV sitting over here in my house, it didn't seem like he was getting the reception he thought he would get. And I really think if he had just kept his damn mouth shut after he left, he would have been received just the same way that Torrey Craig was and Gary Harris was when they came back and they got a little bit of a cheer. He got booed because the man don't know how to shut up.
Yeah.
That's why he's no longer in Denver. If he would have just learned how to sit down and shut the F up, he would still be here in Denver. He would be looking at a championship run and not a play-in run like he is in LA. So I really hope he enjoys that bed that he made himself.
Think of those names you just mentioned, Torrey Craig and Gary Harris. Those are two guys who carried themselves. They earned what they got. Bones was honestly really giving it his minutes in the first year just because Jamal was hurt. We needed a guard, and we played Facu. Facu's not here no more. What you thought because he at least played a little bit of decent, he was going to come back. No, we just needed replacements for Jamal. And if Bones Highland carried himself differently and saw what the team goal was and not his individual goal, he would still be here and he would have been respected the way Gary Harris was, the way Torrey Craig was. Hell, I even saw Jermichael Green getting some respect, and he wasn't even here for that long.
Right?
You know,
he was here for a year and still got at least some applause when he came out on the court. Yeah, most definitely. And again, another thing that differentiates between those guys and Bones is those guys kept their mouth shut. Like they talked, but they didn't talk about Denver, and they didn't try to throw shade at Denver when they left. Whenever they talked about Denver, all they talked about was the great times they had and the fans were great and this and that and the other. They never talked trash. They never talked about how they were upset because they didn't get these minutes or they didn't get to play in this game. No, that's literally all that Bones has done since he left is complain about Malone and the coaching staff and not getting minutes. He sounds selfish. It's not like okay, we saw that he might be selfish, but now he even sounds selfish. So he really kind of got what he deserved. He made that bed. Now he gets to lay in it. I hope it was worth it for him. I hope it was worth it for him to get to LA so that he can pretend to be a rapper in LA, whatever, dude. Just go there and keep your mouth shut. Just keep your mouth shut. Keep the nuggets out your mouth, and you will be fine, my guy.
He's going to stick to basketball because if he tried that rap career, he'll be on Skid Row, man. He'll be on Skid Row. That's where he'll be.
Right, 100%. But let's go ahead and let's move away from role players in this game, and let's talk about some what we agree are superstars. Murray and MPJ had a double-double. Jokic, of course, 40-point triple-double.
Man, it was
Should people stop talking about whether or not that Murray and MPJ are the two other superstars? Like, this is something that's gotten on my nerves. I've talked about it, but I really haven't heard much from you. So I want to hear your take on everybody talking about the fact that the Nuggets need more guys around Joker.
Hey, have you heard the little MPJ chant? From Finding Nemo, the little seagull Mike. Mike. That's
Mike,
him right there.
Mike, yes.
And so that's what every time MPJ comes through with the clutch shot, which he's been doing. I mean, he hit against Memphis the other night, hit the nail in the coffin. This is a guy just so clutch, and when you need a bucket or you need him to just put that final punch into the wound, cold-blooded killer, man. And that he was the one who lifted us, gave us that. Because down the stretch, the Nuggets were going back and forth with the Clippers, which they shouldn't have. This game got way closer than it was supposed to be. It should have been a blowout. But, the Nuggets, that's how they play sometimes. They like to scare us and then satisfy us in there, man. But MPJ came through, hit that three. That was a crazy sequence the last minute. It was just
It really was.
Jamal getting locked down and Kawhi Leonard putting the ball into the backcourt, then Jamal recovering it, then throwing up the half court shot, and I think KCP gets the rebound. They swing the ball around and somehow gets to MPJ's hands. He hits the shot. Then next thing you know, Paul George is hitting the full court shot out of nowhere. That gets called off. Thank goodness. But it was just the craziest game I've ever been a part of. The fact though that Michael Porter Jr. is hitting those kind of shots when he needs to, not when we want him to. He needs to. I mean, he has the most smoothest stroke, so silky. You love shooting him shoot the rock.
Yes,
it's
best
just
J in the game.
It's unbelievable, man. Especially being at that height, 2 inches away from 7 foot,
Bro,
just unbelievable. Insane. And Jamal is just another human being, another animal. I know his father is from Jamaican descent. So I think that's what drives Jamal is that Jamaican blood, because those Jamaicans, they know a couple bad man teams, and that's what Jamal is. He's a bad man team. Yeah, yes. Man. So I don't know, man. It's just watching those guys. It's the same disrespect Nikola gets. They don't have an LA jersey on.
Right.
They don't have a Golden State jersey on. They have a jersey that people don't want to accept the fact that are arguably the best team in NBA, and they're just gonna have to show everyone otherwise.
I'm sorry, I gotta jump in because I'm so glad you said that, because I bet everything I have, my entire bank account from now and the next decade, that if Jamal or MPJ is wearing a Lakers, a Warriors, or even a freaking Knicks jersey,
we don't
have these questions.
Jersey. A Sixers jersey.
We don't have those questions. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, even if it's the Sixers, like any of those teams, if they are on any of those teams individually, let alone together on any of those teams, these questions don't happen. Nobody's questioning whether or not Jamal and MPJ are superstars. And that is the most infuriating part about it, is that it is purely, simply because they play in Denver and not New York or LA.
If Nikola was on the Lakers, what would you think they would talk about him? Do you think they're talking about him the way they're talking about him now, or this could possibly be not the best center of all time, but this could be a top 5, top 10 player of all?
He would already be the GOAT.
Yeah, they would be putting him in that conversation, and they would rather still talk about Luka, even though Luka is. Yep. They've been all right with Kyrie. I mean, I know him and Kyrie accumulated 83 points together. That's a crazy scoring tandem. But there's no reason why
But they're still only 2 and 6, so
yeah, since they acquired him, so it's just
upset.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of the day and time we live in. It's that being the humble superstar doesn't get you what it should or what it used to anymore. Like,
but
think about like Nolan Ryan, Wilt Chamberlain, guys like that back in the day. Like, being a humble superstar was the thing. Now it's all about your TikTok presence. How many dances can you do?
Flashing a pea shooter on Instagram.
Oh my God! Yes, we're almost there, my guy. I promise we're almost there. So
you gotta tease it a little bit.
One more thing before we get there. So let's go ahead and move on to it. Nuggets versus Rockets. Rockets riding an 8-game skid. I think we saw some of their desperation kind of kick in early in the game, and then just the pure weight of the magnitude of talent that is Denver took over, really kind of solidified this game for them. Was this what you wanted to see from the Nuggets in this game, or did you want to see more?
Oh, you got to understand this. The Rockets are on a complete rebuild. They're in the stage of figuring out the blueprint. They don't know the blueprint. They don't even know what's going on. They don't even have a contractor they can hire to even do what they, so they have good young talent. Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, good young guys. You see them trading away their pieces, and Eric Gordon, who was there for the longest time, who was there since James Harden and Chris Paul era. I mean, it doesn't even sound like that was far-fetched and much long ago, but in hindsight, it was about 5-6 years ago. So Eric Gordon has stayed there, and it's about time that they traded him for a couple of pieces. Every time the Nuggets play the Rockets, I always look for that matchup against their young big man, Sun Yun, the young guy from Turkey. I can't even say his name.
Yep.
Elpren.
I can't either,
I think it's Elpren, Sun Yun, something like that.
Good enough.
He got curly hair. He looks like my upstairs neighbor. He's I like watching him play though because he said he looked up to Nikola for at least some time, and it might
Mm-hmm.
sound hard to believe because Nikola is under 30. I think he's like 28, 27, but Sun Yan's is like 20, 21. So, I can understand him looking up to this guy. He about 14, 15 when Nikola made it into the NBA, and he mimics his game. So it was a fun matchup to watch between them. But outside of that, I mean, the Rockets had no chance. They're just a young team who, if they get on it one night, then that's I think once in a five. Because they like got a 20% winning percentage, so 1 out of 5 nights they're actually getting it together. 4 out of 5 nights they're not getting it together, and it was just the majority type of night. They didn't know what they were doing. They obviously were playing a contender, which they had no match or any chance in the beginning of even playing or winning that contest. So it was fun as a Nuggets fan to watch those type of games. But as a Rockets fan, I mean, I don't even know if you even watched it.
Yeah, I agree. It was a shellacking, and I was kind of worried about this being a trap game until I saw DeAndre Jordan interrupt the pregame show on Altitude Sports between Lombardi and Mosier, I think it was. But he jumped in the middle of it, and they asked him flat out. They're like, "Is this a trap game?" He said, "Nah, we locked in, bro. Let's go do this," and then walked away. And that's the guy that wasn't even going to play in this game. If he locked in, everybody locked in, and that's exactly what they were. And that's what
the ball boys was locked in. The ball boys was locked in. Everyone,
ball boys, the towel boys was out there rubbing down there at the day. Everybody was locked in.
Everyone.
So yes, most definitely. I love this. Is exactly what you want to see when the best team in a conference meets the worst team in the conference. The best team has to dominate, and that's exactly what you all got. So if you are a Nuggets fan, definitely you enjoy it. You always enjoy a win. It doesn't matter who it comes against. But if you're a Rockets fan, yeah, I wouldn't have even tuned into this game to even worry about it. But so let's go ahead and move on to the one. I know you're burning to get to this. I am too.
Oh, yeah.
I've went off all over Twitter on this. Grizzlies versus Nuggets. This was a revenge game. The Nuggets. This is why I believe that loss spurred them. It was perfect for them. It really kind of gave them some perspective. They were able to go out, run off 3 wins, including this one against the Grizzlies, where they just really kind of imposed their will. And I think that had a lot to do with Mr. Steve Adams sitting on the bench. What about you?
I mean, I don't say he's a Nikola stopper. He's a big physical force.
No.
He's something big to run into on the screen, but
exactly.
I don't know how much of a difference maker Steve Adams would have done. I mean, I know he's a monster on the boards, but if he's not scoring, if he's not rebounding the ball or playing defense, I mean, no one can really play defense against Nikola Jokic. I don't care what you say. Consistently over 48 minutes, you're not going to stop this guy. So that's out of question. If he's not rebounding the ball, would you have him on the floor? So it didn't even really matter that he wasn't even playing or active for the night. Who else on the Grizzlies could really stop Nikola? Jaren Jackson? I mean, I like that matchup all day long. What's a Serbian dish? What's a Serbian dish? We got to look that up because that's what Jaren Jackson is. He's a Serbian dish to Nikola Jokic. Just eat it up all day long. We got to look that up. Because I was going to say barbecue chicken because that's what Shaq would say every time he had a lighter opponent on him. That's barbecue chicken. I mean, clean my plate, eat it up. I can't pronounce that. Give me another one.
That's the most popular. Let's see.
I can't pronounce.
See if I can find Ajvar. How about that?
Ajvar. Yeah.
Ajvar. Yeah, AJVAR. Ajvar.
We're just gonna have to introduce him to some barbecue chicken. We have to have a barbecue. Give him some chicken, and and he's gonna see that's what Jaren Jackson tastes like. All day, licking your fingers, that's money. Who else is going to stop Nikola on the Grizzlies, man? Like, I don't know. Brandon Clark, another big man who is an interior defender or someone, he's out for the year. He just had an Achilles tear, I think, for the Grizzlies. So who's going to stop Nikola? Steven Adams can try. He's not going to stop him, though. And so it didn't make a difference that he wasn't there. Sarma? What is it?
Yeah,
Does it tell you the ingredients in there?
Yeah, it's a dolma. It's essentially a wrap full of crap. It's like a Serbian goulash thrown in a wrap. So yeah.
like a gyro, like kind of like a gyro, like a Serbian gyro.
It's more like it looks more like an egg roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
but yeah.
okay.
So it's a wrap. It's just like like I said, a goulash. Like they take like something, just like a bunch of something. It could be
Mhm.
anything, like any leftovers,
Man,
and they stuff it in this pocket. So yeah,
they just
sarma.
they just go to the flower bed, and pull anything they can out. Just all
Yep.
everything in there, just like screw it. You know,
Just
and
chuck
you
it
know
in there.
what?
Kind of
Hey,
like empanadas. You can kind of like stick anything in an empanada. That's kind of like their empanada.
empanadas are good though, man. I love those things. We gotta
Empanadas are
try some
bomb,
Serbian
bro.
food.
I ain't even say. Don't get me twisted. I love me some empanadas,
Oh,
both savory and sweet. I don't care either way.
we got to find out a Serbian place. I can't believe there's not a popular Serbian restaurant. When you have
Right?
arguably the greatest professional athlete in Denver sports history, I'm saying all day, and you can call this controversial. I know we got unbelievable, phenomenal Bronco players, but I'm throwing Nikola Jokic. And I know it's a much different sport, but Nikola
Yeah.
Jokic is the top 5, top 3 best professional Denver athlete of all time. Just you got to have his type of restaurant. You got to have his nationality restaurant somewhere. You know what I mean? Just to at least pay homage or some type of tribute to him. So I'm gonna find me a Serbian restaurant and I'm gonna see what they're talking about in tribute to one of the greatest Denver professional athletes.
I agree with you. I think we could definitely do something. I think that'd be a fun time to check out some international fare. I did a quick search. I didn't do anything. But I'm not finding anything Serbian. Found a bunch of Balkan restaurants because technically he's in the Balkans.
Yeah,
But that's the closest I found. But we'll do some more research later. First off, let's go back to this game and what happened afterwards. So for those of you that don't know what happened, John Morant thought it'd be a cool idea after this loss to go and party. And while he was partying in a club in public, he decided to take an Instagram live, do an Instagram live. And during that live, he decided to hold a gun dump. Like I don't get it. Like, how do you hold a gun dump?
Hey, bro.
Like,
I just thought of you know what I just thought of?
What?
We should have, like, if I can edit this, I should edit it. But that meme, it just shows him on Instagram with the gun, whatever, and then have Will Ferrell from Step Brothers like, I remember when I had my first beer.
Right?
Like, that's how I feel. Like I feel like you said he was partying in the club. This man obviously has never consumed, I don't even think, the smallest amount of alcohol, and he's out there thinking he's the hardest thing.
Getting his nose broke. I mean,
I don't know what he's doing, getting his nose powdered up or something. I don't know if it's even broke, man. This guy, he you know, and I'm not trying to be too harsh, but you're an idiot, man. You're an idiot in the position that you're in. This is not like Ish Smith, the last number 15th man on the roster doing this stuff. Because if it was, he'd be off the team tomorrow. John Morant, they're not going to cut you, bro. Like, you're very.
He just signed a $200 million contract.
You're important to the team, and you're also important to a lot of young kids. I mean, I don't care what anyone says, the role model stuff, everything. I remember Charles Barkley back in the day, I'm not a role model. Yeah, you know, you can think that, but really, the sad reality is, you know, you can't choose your role model. You can't choose who looks up to you as a role model. Kids choose their role model, if you like it or not. And so Ja doing this in the position of power that he's in, instead of actually affecting something for more positive, like, there's a lot of ignorant, dumb gun violence going out there from kids who are thinking they're hard. And John Morant's pretty much promoting it as a professional athlete.
I don't understand how you can watch 8 Mile and think that Papa Doc is the guy you want to.
Right.
That makes no sense to me, bro.
You know,
I love the fact that somebody went and took that verse from the final battle and did a video showing how it is almost an identical thing. Like, he went to a private school. He's got a mommy and daddy in the same house. He never lived in the hood. He lived in the suburbs, bro. Like, what are you doing? It's like one day he was in Memphis, because, like, none of y'all been to Memphis. Memphis is grimy. It is as grimy as it gets, bro. As much as people want to talk about Chicago and New York and Miami, bro, Memphis is dirty, yo. It is the dirty South. South for a reason.
I heard
Like,
there was this podcast. It was like a collaboration of professional athletes, like former NFL players, NBA players, and they were just clowning, man. They were like, there was probably some dudes or some local street gang members or fake gang members, whatever, that were probably on John Morant's jock, just telling him like, "Hey, man, yeah, we appreciate what you're doing here." And John's just like, "Oh hell yeah, can I ride with y'all?" Like what the hell are you talking about? Like, bro, don't be, I don't know, what are you doing? Like, bro, you're a professional athlete, bro. Like,
it's like he ran into the OG at the club, and the OG's like, "Hey, bro, come sit with me. Let's talk. I appreciate what you're doing for my Grizz. We got a good team going now." And then and like you said, he's like, "Oh, can I ride with you?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Bet." And then he loses his freaking mind. It's like Tekashi 6ix9ine all over again,
bro,
just without the face tattoo.
Oh my
it's God. Just like, bro, what are you doing?
It's so sad.
It's like, I love this video. I don't remember what the show or the movie that it was from, but it's that one where it's like all these dudes are in the rap studio, and then like the guy gets done rapping and he walks out and he's like, "Man, we got to get back to the hood." And then his buddy's like, "No, bro, like we already made it." He's like, "We got to go back to selling drugs." He's like, "No, bro, we need to invest." And he's like, "But that's slow money." And it's like, it was the perfect video for, because it's the same situation. Like, bro, you already made it. Like, you never were in it to begin with. Okay, you didn't come out of the hood. You weren't one of the guys that made it good. Like, I don't understand. Like, where is this coming from? Like, where is this gangsta mentality? Like, I know it's from from the glorification from hip hop and all those things, but you know what? I listen to that music. You don't see me out here making these Instagram videos acting a freaking fool, and I don't have 200 million to lose.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Sense. Hey, Ja's the first NBA player trying to make it out the NBA. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's trying to
he's trying to leave the suburbs and make it. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, like, he is just ridiculous. But it's so dumb, because the perfect comparison to John Morant, and I'm not even saying it because of the gun incident now, it's Gilbert Arenas. We remember Gilbert Arenas before the gun incident. He was a star of his team. I was just
talking about this with my nephew last night. Yes, 100% correct.
He was a star of the team. He was, the Agent Zero was for real, man. I know our beloved Chauncey Billups ran the East for a while, but it was the Pistons with Chauncey, Tayshaun Prince, and Rip Hamilton, LeBron, an up-and-coming LeBron James, and the Wizards with Gilbert Arenas, Caron Butler, and Antoine Jameson. It was those three teams until the Boston Celtics came through and just destroyed everything and messed everything up and created this super team and what we now as just what you need to even make the playoffs, it seems like. Because back then, you get three guys on your squad, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, KG, like that was unheard of. Like, they're cheating. Might as well give them the trophy.
That blew people's minds, bro.
It was
minds.
It was the right thing to do, I think, for basketball, because the Celtics.
I agree. Yeah.
They were so bad for a long time. Ray Allen was turning into a journeyman, but that was Jesus Shuttlesworth for a long time. So everyone was rooting him on until he got catfish. You look up into Ray Allen catfish. It's like the creepiest thing.
Oh my God.
But KG.
Manti-Teo like stuff. Yes.
Yeah, really. I'm serious. Do your own research. You're going to see.
Yes.
KG, though, being the misfit, I don't say the misfit, but that dominant guy of, he had all these great years.
He brought the attitude, man. He's what changed that franchise. I believe.
All those great years in Minnesota, but they couldn't surround a superstar around him. I always have this argument with people that KG versus Tim Duncan is the equivalent to Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning. You give Peyton Manning Bill Belichick, and he's winning 7 championships. You give KG,
I agree,
Greg Popovich, he's winning 7 championships. So it's not about the best player or any of that. It's about the system and being put in the right situation.
It's about having both. Like, I don't understand why people want to separate those things. It's like the coach and they have to go together. Like, you can have all the great players you want. If you don't have a great coach to make them play good, it doesn't matter. And vice versa. You can have a great coach, but nothing but crappy players. It's not going to work out either way. Like, I do not get that
credibility
whatsoever.
Yeah, but going back to Agent, because we went down a complete rabbit hole. Back to Agent Zero, though. When he had that gun incident with Javaris Clinton, who is a piece of crap. I know we've had a running trend the last couple of weeks of talking about it. I don't want to get into it because we've spent a lot of time on these guys. But
We really
Javaris
should
Critton
have.
doing 20 years to life for just do your research and see the guy who Gilbert got in a fight with and brought a
Yep.
gun with the locker room. That changed the entire trajectory of Gilbert Arenas' career. Don't be surprised if this changes the complete narrative of John Morant's career and the Grizzlies are on a downfall after this. Or John Morant's on a downfall and he's not going to be the face of that franchise anymore.
It's going to go one of two ways. He's either going to do what he said in his apology, where he's
That's PR talk.
help.
That's PR talk.
Yeah,
man.
I know. I agree with you. I agree with you. But I'm saying there's one of two ways that this goes. And either he gets the help that he says he's going to get, which again I agree with you. That's PR talk. Or
he need to go to personal disorder therapy.
Right? Hey, dude. Whatever it is he needs to do, whether it's daddy just whooping the crap out of him, whatever. I'm sorry, but that's my son. I don't care how old you are. I'm punching you in your junk. I'm telling you right now, boy, Trey, Daniel the third. I'm telling you, you ever do some stuff like this, you got to deal with me. You ain't got to worry about the media. You ain't got to worry about your teammates. You got to deal with me. Like, that's not okay. Never going to happen. But anyway, and we actually from the hood. That's the most infuriating part. I'm sorry.
It is.
We live in the project, and I won't deal with that.
I hear you, man.
Trying to take us back?
No, man. Yeah. I feel you're gonna have a raspy voice in the morning, man. You're so passionate. It's so passionate.
I will too. But it's all right. Hey, this is what I do. This is who I am. I can't help it. But so I think we both agree. Ja has lost his mind, and it's a matter of whether or not he finds it on how this ends up going. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and move on. Look at the week ahead here real quick before we get out of here. First up on the docket this week are the Raptors. Is this a team deep enough to make noise in the playoffs, and do they worry you against the Nuggets?
Yeah, Raptors, I'm not worried. I think this is actually more of a credit to Kawhi Leonard. I mean, for him to spend 1 year there and make the Raptors seem like – I mean, you know how it is when a team wins a championship and now the years after it are supposed to be, this is the new up-and-coming next dynasty or whatever, or a team that's going to compete for championships for years to come. But it just seems like the Raptors were somewhat of the 2015 Broncos. Ever since winning that championship, they really haven't been the same, and they haven't really gotten any better. So the Raptors aren't a team that scares me. I like Pascal Siakam. He's a nice, pretty nice NBA player, but I just don't think that he is the type of guy who should be a franchise's best player if you want to be a title contender. Scotty Barnes is on the up and up. He's a good young player himself. OG Anunoby, who I'm very surprised that the Raptors don't want to make expendable if they want to be a better team or go into that direction of making themselves back to what they were with the in 2019 when they won the championship. Then they should have traded OG Anunoby and got some good pieces. So I'm not worried about the Raptors. It could be a trap game though, depending on where it's at. Is it Denver or Toronto?
This one is in Denver.
Okay, so that's the league's best 29-4 at home. I'm taking the Nuggets all the way. No question.
Yeah, I agree with you. If this was on the road, I'd be more worried. Pascal Siakam, Van Vliet, Trent Jr., Anunoby, Barnes, and Poeltl. Every single one of those guys is averaging double digits, and they got two more, Boucher and is it Prince Achiuwa?
He got to tell
however you say that.
Echiarwa or Wall.
Yeah, something like that.
Right there, we're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna stop there. We butchered it enough. You know who we're talking about. Those two guys are averaging just under double digits. They're at 9.7 points. So this team can score. That's obvious. But I mean, this is a year every team is scoring.
Hey, I looked up a stat, man.
Go ahead.
I looked up this stat where the Miami Heat, they're at 108 points per game, are the lowest scoring, slowest pace NBA team in the league. Bro, in 2010, 2011, that was the highest, that was, I think, 2 points above the highest scoring team in the NBA. The pace and the 3-point game has just completely changed everything, man. It's a new game. It's just completely different. I mean, we saw the second highest scoring game in NBA history of 170 something to another 170 something. I mean, they collected almost 350 points together.
To 175, yes.
And that was the Kings and the Clippers, which it baffles me that the Nuggets still hold the record with another team. I don't remember who they played, but they still have that record from the 80s. I mean, a game from the 80s, teams are scoring 180 points. That's just insane. That's like two teams going at it and scoring 240. I mean, could you just imagine seeing a game like that? Just final score 248 to 241 or something, Just imagine seeing something like that nowadays. That's what that game in the 80s with the Nuggets. I remember Alex English went off, scored how many points it would take to 180. I know it was a team of Fat Lever, Alex English, couple, I think Kiki Vandeweghe was there. It might have been the Pistons. I think they were playing the Pistons. I'm not too sure on that. Let's see the research guru.
But, while we're speaking of 80s basketball, let's move on to a team that seems to be wanting to bring back that 80s basketball you were just talking about, and that is the Chicago Bulls, who are now sitting at 29-36. They only have 4 players on their entire roster that are averaging double-digit points. Their top 2, they're very top-heavy, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. With those 2 superstars, do they have a third to compete in the NBA and the playoffs?
Well, they've fallen apart since Lonzo. I don't know what's going on with him. He's still feeling discomfort in his knees. Been about almost a year. Hasn't played any ball. I know Vucevic is a nice big man, but he's doesn't do anything really on the defensive end. So if he's not scoring, he's pretty much eliminated from the game. You can take him right out the game and not even worry about him. So it's just going to depend. I know Nicola's going to outplay Vucevic. I mean, these are 2 Nicolas going on against each other. I think it's actually supposed to be pronounced Nicola, not Nicola.
Yeah.
Nicola is
Nicola.
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 Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah, and I don't think they're because I can think he's from one of those other Yugoslavian countries.
Yeah. So
no, he's from Switzerland. That's why it's Nicola instead of Nicola.
So they're messing with us at this point. I don't even know.
I know, right? I swear Europeans just like to screw with
the actually, I'm from Philadelphia.
Right. So back to the question, real quick. Is Lonzo that third star, or do they have a guy on this roster that could be considered a third star?
I haven't paid much attention to Bulls basketball just because we were so hyped about Lonzo, and outside of Lonzo, it's only LaVine and DeRozan, but those are 2 guys who can score the ball one-dimensionally. I mean, I know LaVine can hit the 3 here and there. He's a 3-level scorer. DeRozan's actually the only one-dimensional scorer where he's just the old-school mid-range type of game. Plays a little bit of defense. He's past his prime, so he's a little slower. Lateral quickness isn't what it once was. Right. The Bulls, that should be a gimme win. But, in the end, it always depends the venue. That's always when I go off the venue. Where's this one being played? All right, so I'm taking 2 back-to-back. 2 back-to-backs.
Okay. All right, awesome. So one final game to get to that will be played before we get back here next Saturday or maybe Sunday. Who knows? We'll play with y'all. The San Antonio Spurs is coming up. Do they have enough offense to be competitive with a locked-in Nuggets squad?
These are the games you need to win. And the Nuggets just got 3 gimmies right here. They just got 3 gimmies.
Should be.
It should be, but I'm going to call it. It will be. It will be 3 gimme games.
Okay.
I would take the Spurs. The Raptors game might be the most competitive. Chicago, I'm not worried about Chicago. I'm not worried about the Spurs. Spurs are the second worst team in the Western Conference, right? Houston Rockets are just, I think, a couple games worse than them. I don't know what's up with the Texas teams this year, but they're not being too highly successful. Spurs are just like the Rockets in a complete rebuild, which is kind of depressing to see Greg Popovich and his last coaching years have to go through a rebuild. I would rather see Popovich coach like a Mike. How you say the dude from Duke? Coach K. Coach K. I was going to say his last name. Krzyzewski. Yeah, I probably said it wrong still, but. Close I would like to see Popovich go out like that, at least coach a couple more years on with the actual really good contending team. If we can get him to be an assistant on the Nuggets, I'm all with that. I don't know. That's just another universe. Where
not gonna happen, but yeah. we like to dream sometimes. It's okay.
It's not gonna happen, but it's all right. We can dream, man. Dream catchers, baby. Dream catchers.
Right. Always. Yeah, I agree with you. I would love to see Pop get back to being on top. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that this roster is close enough to really get him
No,
for him to be able to
no,
coach long enough to get
no.
back there to being
So I
on
said
top.
he has to
I
be an
don't see it.
assistant
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go somewhere else, move around, something of that
be
nature. Yeah.
be a consultant or
So
something.
yeah, as much as I want to have the same confidence as you that the Nuggets are just going to go out there and mollywop all three of these teams as they should, I do believe they do end up dropping one, and
Mm,
I do think it is this one against the Spurs in San Antonio. I
you
think that
taking
they're
that
going to
trap
be
game?
riding. Yeah, I'm
Taking that
taking that
trap?
trap game. It's in San Antonio. They'll be on if they win these next two games. They'll be on a
Oh,
5-game winning streak. I think the Nuggets have had one winning streak longer than 5 games all season.
mm,
So it seems to be kind of like their bugaboo. If they get around 4 to 5 games, they end up having an off night. Whether it's that they can't shoot, and then you got a couple of injuries that are piling up, especially with the big guys. Thomas Bryant, Vlachos Chanchar, and Zeke Naji have all shown up on the injury report in the last couple of days. So take those as you will. I would love to see the Nuggets go out there and go 3-0 this week. But I'm just believing that it's going to come down to one of these games being a trap game. I think it's going to be in San Antonio.
mm.
I love the fact that the Nuggets only have one more back-to-back. So it's not like we got to worry about that being a factor. In these last 18 games, they got one back-to-back. This is why we were talking about earlier in the season when they had all of those back-to-backs and all of those road games, that it was going to come around in the second half of the season. These last 18 games, I believe more than half of them are at home. So I believe the Nuggets are going to go out of the season with a bang, but this week they're going to end it with a dud, and it's going to be in San Antonio. So I believe they're going to go 2-1, lose to the Spurs, come back home, rewrite their ship like they always seem to do, and then go back on another run to go ahead and end out the season. So those are our predictions. That is what we feel is as what happened, what is going to happen. We do appreciate y'all that did come in. Please make sure you smash that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you like the content, and also hit the bell notifications. That way you're notified every time that we go live or upload any type of content. Make sure, as always, show your love. All the different platforms, retweet, share, like, subscribe. All of those things are essential. It is free for you, but it is priceless for us. And we have a new way for all of you to contribute to us. That is at Patreon. You can go to Patreon. There's all different types of levels of membership, starting at as low as $1 and going all the way to 20. Now, I know that sounds like a really wide range, and it is, but this is for a reason. I want to make sure that I have a level of membership and something that I can give to each and every individual, whether or not you are that rich retard on Instagram flashing your guns, or you're just the average Joe trying to find some entertainment on YouTube. We are here for all of you, and we want you all to get the content you want. So no matter whether it is $1 or $20 a month, it is a monthly subscription, just like you would for Netflix and all of those. And we're going to give you the content you deserve as you donate to us. The more you donate, the more we can put into this, the more content that we can give you. We've already got one donator. I appreciate you, babe. I appreciate the $20 a month that we will be getting from you. I don't expect that from any of y'all. And also, I am not vain enough to just be unlimited on the $20 a month thing. That is a serious commitment that I take seriously. If you are going to be willing to give me that much money per month, I know that might not sound like much to many, but I do understand. Again, I live in the projects. I've lived in the hood. I understand that $20 a month can be a really big thing. So there is a limited amount of people that can sign up for the $20 a month and get those perks. And all the perks vary from special lives that we will do for all of you that are within those tiers to special content on the website. It's all laid out. The link is right down below in the description to Patreon. Make sure you click on it, check them out. If you can donate, great. And you can even do one-time donations. If you don't want to do the monthly donations, that's fine. If you just want to give us $5, $2, it doesn't matter. We are not greedy. We are not looking for any set amount. We just want you guys to have some investment into this, because if you do, you're more willing and more likely to enjoy the things that we have. And we're going to give you the things that you have, that you enjoy. So go ahead, go on over to Patreon, sign up if you like, leave us a donation. Again, the more you give us there, the more content we will give you here. This is not just something that we're going to use to pocket. I'm going to reinvest whatever you give us into this show, into this business, and giving more back to you guys. And this is also a way for you guys to help us, maybe if we can get enough, start paying some of these guys, like this guy right here. And he can give you all the content you want constantly, and have him quit that 9 to 5. So keep that in mind. We appreciate y'all.
No, I don't want to have to do something strange for a little change. You know what I mean? So help us out. Help us out, man.
Appreciate you. Exactly. Help us out. We appreciate everything y'all do. And again, we don't expect anything. If you can just hit the like button.
Should that be a slogan? Should that be a slogan?
Right.
Help
don't do something stupid.
I don't want to do something strange for a little change. Help me out. It's just a little sign out there.
Little sign banner. That's great.
Man.
Yes. No, most
That's
definitely
crazy.
Appreciate it. And again, if you don't have money to give, that's fine. A like, a subscribe, a share, all of that is invaluable. It's just as good as cash. So make sure you're doing all of that, guys. We appreciate you. We love you. For the Nuggz Life Podcast, I'm the host, Dan Wetstein. That's the co-host, Santiago Salazar. And for The Answer is 42, don't question